Let's get to our 5 headlines. Okay, so starting here, Dr. Fauci was on CNN yesterday, and he wanted to make sure to throw some cold water on any embers of hope that anyone might have. You can't have any hope. No hope is allowed. So here's how that went.
Now, you've already encouraged Americans to consider canceling any Thanksgiving plans that involve visiting with somebody else or having visitors come. I know a lot of Americans are looking ahead, hoping to make plans for other holidays such as Christmas. When do you think Americans will next be able to safely gather together for family events like this? Are you suggesting it probably won't be able to happen until, I don't know, Labor Day 2021, Thanksgiving 2021?
Now, if I could just jump in here for a second, Jake, if I could briefly, and I know you weren't asking me the question, but I'm going to answer it anyway. Let me say that Americans can gather with their families right now. There's no need to wait until Labor Day or, Christmas 2021. I've been gathering with my family ever since this all began. We had a big family reunion in June. I hate to admit it. I don't know if the feds are going to be busting down my door now, but that's what we did. We've gotten together plenty since then. We've had some kids' birthdays and other events. Everybody was fine. Nobody got sick. Nobody died. Nobody even had a case of the sniffles afterwards. So my point is, you can get together now if you want to take charge of your own life, make your own decisions, be an adult, be an American. You could do that. So that's my response to that. But here's Fauci's response.
It depends on a number of factors, Jake. For example, we have vaccines now. The first one that came out was highly effective. I anticipate that the second one likely will be comparable. You never can tell until you see the data, but would be comparable. That's great, but we have to get people to take the vaccine. So if we get the overwhelming majority of people taking the vaccine, and you have on the one hand an effective vaccine, on the other hand a high degree of uptake of the vaccine, we could start getting things back to relative normal as we get into the second and third quarter of the year, where people can start thinking about doing things that were too dangerous just months ago. But we've got to put all those things together, Jake. We can't just wish it happening. We've got to get the vaccine, it's got to be deployed, and we can't abandon fundamental public health measures. You can approach a degree of normality while still doing some fundamental public health things that synergize with the vaccine to get us back to normal.
So not until the second or third quarter of 2021, though. Christmas is probably not going to be possible.
Yeah,
Okay, so we have two things there. First of all, we have a Christmas is not going to be possible from Jake Tapper. And the thing is, he said that yesterday, and that this clip went viral on Twitter with people accusing Jake Tapper of saying that essentially we have to cancel Christmas, or at least with our families. You can't get together for Christmas with your families. And the spin from people trying to defend Jake Tapper is that no, he didn't say that. What he was trying to say is that it's not going to be possible to have a vaccine by Christmas. Well, no, you heard it right there. That's not what he was saying. He said Christmas is not going to be possible. We can't do Christmas. That's what he said. It was right there in the clip. You heard it for yourself. But again, Jake Tapper doesn't get to cancel Christmas. Dr. Fauci doesn't get to cancel it. The governor of your state, wherever you live, cannot cancel it. They can try, and they are trying, but they can't actually do it. What needs to happen here is we call their bluff. And I think that's what people should have been doing all along. But especially when it comes to these limits on the numbers of people you can have in your own home for Thanksgiving or Christmas or just in general, call their bluff. Go ahead. If you live up in New York, you have as many people as you want over for Thanksgiving. If Andrew Cuomo really wants to send police busting down your door to cart your in-laws away, which part of that, frankly, seems a little bit appealing. But if he really wants to do that, maybe it's kind of a win-win. On one side, your in-laws get arrested. On the other side of it as well, maybe that will be the thing that finally wakes up the American population. I don't know. So we have that. We also have Fauci saying that even with the vaccine, we still are going to have to have masks and social distancing and all these so-called protective measures. So let's follow the trajectory here with the masks. First, they said if we try to remember in our heads. Originally, they said, don't wear a mask. Now, remember, they didn't just say, don't wear a mask. They said, essentially, if you wear a mask, you're a moron. Remember those tweets from the Surgeon General screaming at people, seriously, stop wearing masks, you morons. He didn't say morons, but that was the tone of it. So originally it was don't wear a mask. And then it was, well, probably you should wear a mask when you're out in public. Or if you're out at a store or something and there's strangers around, probably you should wear a mask. And then it was, probably you should wear a mask outside too. And then it was, well, you should just wear masks all the time. And now they're saying, yeah, you should wear masks even when you're with your own family for Thanksgiving. And, oh yeah, we're going to wear masks even after the vaccine. And we're just going to wear masks forever. Pretty soon it'll be, after you die, you wear a mask in the grave because you can never be too careful. Number two, staying on this theme here, Washington State is going into full lockdown again. In fact, a number of states are. This was the most recent one announced, this in Michigan. So here's the governor of Washington introducing the rehashed measures that didn't work the first time, so let's try them again.
So the restrictions we're announcing today, which will be in effect through December 14th, are not as comprehensive or to some degree tough as our stay-home order in March. But every part of our state will see rollbacks in some sense. Most will take effect at midnight Monday. This is not forever. This is only for now. Thanks to the brilliance of our medical community, a vaccine is on the way. We need to hold this pandemic down until the cavalry arrives. This is a temporary situation in our state where we seek a permanent healthy condition. And our goal is to keep the most people alive as possible until the vaccine and other therapeutic measures arrives. And that's a task I believe Washington is up to. So here are some parts of our plan. Indoor social gatherings with people from outside your home are prohibited unless they quarantine for 14 days prior to the social gathering, or quarantine for the 7 days prior to the gathering, and receive a negative COVID-19 test result no more than 48 hours prior to the gathering.
And then they released a whole list of what the restrictions are, and I'm looking at it right here. It's a lengthy list. Indoor social gatherings with people from outside your household are prohibited unless they quarantine for 14 days. So they're saying there's not even a limit. It's just you can't do it, period, unless they quarantine for 14 days beforehand. Outdoor social gatherings shall be limited to 5 people from outside your household. Restaurants and bars are closed for indoor dine-in service. Because, these governors, they didn't succeed in completely killing their economies and completely destroying. I mean, they decimated the restaurant industry, but they didn't completely destroy it. Now they're going back around for the kill shot. That's what's happening here. Gyms and fitness facilities are closed. Movie theaters are closed. This is the kind of thing. This is just completely egregious and flagrant. Why close movie theaters? There's just no reason to close them. You could very easily socially distance in a movie theater. A movie theater would be one of the easiest things to keep open because you can easily control the number of people who come in. You spread them out, no problem. It'd be very easy to do. They closed bowling alleys. Bowling alleys are closed. Again, no reason for that. It'd be extremely just spread out. I mean, when's the last time you've been in a bowling alley that was completely packed anyway? Maybe have people wear their own shoes in case you're wondering about COVID on the shoes. I don't know. There's just so many really basic things we could do without shutting down these industries. But these governors, almost all of them Democrats, are saying, yeah, forget that. We'll just destroy the industry. Why not? Number 3, a report here from The Blaze says actress Melissa McCarthy, known for her roles in comedic films, caved to the Outrage mob last week after she was attacked online for donating money to an organization dedicated to ending human sex trafficking. So she's apologizing for giving money to a charity against human sacrificing. All right. She's a part of a promotion for the new movie Superintelligence. McCarthy teamed up with HBO Max for 20 Days of Kindness, which is a campaign donating $20,000 to 20 different charities over the course of 20 days. So far, so good. Included on the list was Exodus Cry, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to eradicating sex trafficking. But the Daily Beast got wind of this, and they did a hit piece on Exodus Cry. And here's what they said. This is from the Daily Beast. The Daily Beast's Tarpley hit exclusively reported on Thursday that Exodus Cry frames itself as an anti-sex trafficking group, but in reality works to abolish sex work entirely. Oh, the horror. Its founder, Benjamin Nolet, has called abortion a holocaust and homosexuality an unspeakable offense to God. The group has spent years lobbying to criminalize the purchase of sex and recently launched a campaign to shutter Pornhub. They sound like a great... This is the first time I've heard of Exodus Cry, but I'll tell you right now, I'm going to be donating to them. I'm going to make a handsome donation to Exodus Cry. Sound great to me. So that's the great offense, though. They not only try to rescue women from sex trafficking, but they also oppose the industries that depend on sex trafficking and that drive sex trafficking. So they want to bail the water out of the boat and plug the leak. Well, that's horrible. That's bigoted. It's better to keep bailing the Titanic out with little mop buckets and thimbles while leaving the iceberg-sized gash in the hull, because that's on the left, when they talk about battling sex trafficking, that's what they want to do. Because as far as the industries that keep this going, that depend on it, fund it, push it, fuel it, they don't want to do anything with those industries. And so Melissa McCarthy, anyway, brave woman that she is, she got a little bit of a pushback and decided to take the money back, and she issued this groveling apology.
Hi there. It has come to our attention that our 20 Days of Kindness, which is a kindness hub that we started to kind of shed the light on 20 great charities, had one in there that there's no other way to say it. We blew it. We made a mistake, and we backed a charity that, upon proper vetting, stands for everything that we do not. So I want to thank everyone on social media who said, what are you doing? Are you sure you want to back this? Because the answer is no, we do not. We have pulled it. We are so incredibly grateful for you ringing the bell and helping us be better. We're sorry for our mistake. Oh boy, are we sorry for it. Can't believe that we missed it. And that's it. And I want to say I hope it doesn't ding the other charities, because they're really doing some amazing things, and 20 Days of Kindness is really meant to shine the light on all of those wonderful charities. So let the kindness continue, and thank you. Thanks for the help. We really needed it.
Just a picture of courage there, that Melissa McCarthy, isn't she? I mean, just think about this. She could have easily ignored this. She could have taken that route. Just ignore it. It'll go away. People aren't that focused on it. Or she could have done the right thing and come out and said, hey, listen, this is a good organization. They're fighting sex trafficking. I don't agree with all their views, but they're doing an important service. And you know, if they're against Pornhub while at the same time saving women from sex trafficking, that's a trade I'm willing to make. She could have done that. And she risks nothing. She put nothing. Speaking of putting nothing on the line, having no stakes, what you know, if she were to stand up against the outrage mob, what happens to her? What's the worst case scenario? That her super intelligence movie flops? It was going to flop anyway. All of her movies flop. But she's still a multimillionaire. She'll still get work. So that's why it can be so demoralizing when you see these people on the public stage who are massively wealthy and they've got so many fans and everything, and they cave so quickly to the outrage mob. Because for them, it should be the easiest to stand against it. Think about Drew Brees, another perfect example. You know, he for a moment he stood up for literally for the anthem and for police. Got a little bit of pushback and said, "Oh, never mind. I'm sorry for supporting the flag and supporting police." You're right. You know what? I am going to take the side of you know, convicted criminals and instead of the police. But what was the worst case scenario for him if he stood up against the outrage mob? What happens to him? Even if he gets cut from the team, which was never going to happen because he's Drew Brees, for God's sake. But even if he did, he's still rich and wealthy. He's still set for life. He can do whatever he wants. But if these people who have everything won't stand up, when they really risk nothing, if they won't stand up against it, what about people who don't have that kind of security? That's why it's so demoralizing. Okay, let's go to number 4. This is from the Daily Wire. It says, not content to ban smoking in public, San Francisco is now considering a ban on smoking in one's own home, should they live in an apartment. Reason reported that the city's Board of Supervisors are considering the bill and voted last Thursday to advance it. The bill would ban smoking inside private dwellings located in apartments with 3 or more units, according to the outlet. The bill wouldn't apply to just tobacco products with known secondhand concerns. It would also ban marijuana and even vaping in the private dwellings. The San Francisco Examiner reported saying the bill sponsor Supervisor Norman Ye said in a tweet that the goal of the bill was to help residents avoid being exposed to secondhand smoke in their own homes. He says, smoke easily moves between units and buildings. Now that more of us work from home, it's more important than ever because there is no way to contain it. By the way, there's no evidence whatsoever that if your neighbor smokes, it's somehow going to give you cancer. No evidence of that. There just isn't. But I think it's not a coincidence here. I don't see this as a coincidence that on one hand, you've got these COVID restrictions and state governments assuming they have the right and the power to tell you how many people you can have in your own home. And now you got a smoking ban in private residences. You know, we're setting a precedent with the COVID restrictions. And it's not going to be contained just to that. I think we've already seen that. And the precedent is the government can tell you what you can do in your own home. And this is, there are going to be consequences to that. We have seen this over and over again with the government. I mean, throughout human history. When you give the government, when you submit to the government and give it a certain power, it's not just going to give it back. And it always, well, we need the power just in an emergency situation here. We just need it for now. Give us this power, and we'll give it up once the emergency passes. And time again, of course, the public says, well, okay, if you say so. You never lied to us before, except every other time. So that's the way this is going to go. Number 5, finally, if Joe Biden is going to be president, then I think we found the anthem for the next 4 years. This, I think we could say at least this is the best pro-Biden song ever written. Though, of course, the bar is so low that it's, somewhere down near the core of the earth at this point. But anyway, here's the song. Listen.
I can't believe it. All my dreams came true. America voted, and the country turned blue. We wanted Joe Biden for the next 4 years. We wanted Kamala, and now there's no need to fear. And who's commander-in-chief?
Joe Biden.
The one that Trump can't defeat.
Joe Biden.
Who can fix the economy?
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden, baby.
Joe Biden.
Yeah, the secondhand embarrassment is so intense watching that you feel like you're suffering actual physical trauma while you watch it. And what I'm wondering is whose idea was that? I assume it was the guy's idea because he's the lead singer. So the guy went up to his girlfriend or his wife or whoever, maybe his Uber passenger, I don't know, and said, "Hey, babe, I wrote this sexy Joe Biden song. What do you say we hop in the front seat and sing it together?" And the crazy thing is that she said yes to that. Maybe she didn't ask to hear it ahead of time. That's what I'm thinking. So she's sitting there listening and experiencing the same horror we are, but she's on camera. She can't show it. The show must go on. Suddenly, this has become a story of great courage and selflessness on the part of the woman. And that's how I choose to see it, in an inspiring way. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down there so you can stay up to date on all of our future content.